I do apologize for the delay. There was some confusion with the room, and a faculty meeting lasted a little longer than anticipated, so we had to relocate. I appreciate those of you that are here today. This shouldn't take more than about 15 or 20 minutes. And it's very similar to what we've done in the past. So my name is Melissa Moulton. I'm the volunteer, I'm the school support coordinator, and one of my subcommittees is volunteers. So one of the things that falls under my umbrella is volunteers. And so every year we do this volunteer orientation to set the school standards and expectations for volunteering when you're here at the school. So I've got a form that I've given to each of you in attendance. The ladies in the office will have this for you, for those of you at home, the first time you come in to volunteer. And Ms. Fair will put it online for those of you who want to read over it, look, whatever it is that you may want to do, and then print it, or just know the information so you can fill it out very quickly when you come in. On the second page, it has a schedule, has your personal contact information and a schedule. Don't worry about the schedule so much. I will post things on Sign Up Genius, which we'll get into a little bit later, and find volunteers that way. So I don't actually go through these forms and look at your availability. With little kids at home, it just changes too often. So this was great year one, but we've got better practices now that work better for us. So disregard that piece. The first, we're going to go over this form very quickly. Everybody here has it in front of them. The first thing that it talks about is background checks and sign-ins. So everybody in the state of Texas, every volunteer on a campus working with children other than their own must have a background check completed. That's a TEA policy. It's something that we enforce here at Founders. So the link is on the website. I'm sure we can send that out again or post that again today, but you must fill out that background check. Know that when you fill it out, it usually takes between 10 and 12 days to get back. This time of year, it can take as much as a month. Every school in the entire state has their volunteers filling out background checks. So that funnel does get clogged, and it just takes time for them to come back to us. So please do that today if you haven't already. If you've already done that, we may be waiting on it. The first round of people who did it in July when we first posted it, I've already gotten back, and I've sent out contact information for that group. So there were 87 volunteers that jumped on right away. Those folks have already received 2 emails from me, one about band and one about Sign Up Genius. So excellent. The second thing that we discuss here, well, anytime you come to the school, you need to sign in at the main office. That's right in the front where Miss Farrow, Miss Morales, Miss Reynolds are. You've got to go in there. You'll get either a sticker that says that you're a volunteer, or you'll get a volunteer badge. We are going to make a valiant effort this year to get everybody volunteer badges. That software is not always cooperative. So if you get an email from us asking for a picture or asking you to come in to take a picture, please let us know when you're available. So the next thing we need to talk about is the rest of this form really talks about how we behave when we're on campus as volunteers. So the first thing that they want us to make sure that we mention is gossip and appropriate speech while we're here. So the ongoing joke has always been that 2 things are not welcome on a Founders campus: glitter and gossip. Once it's out there, you can never clean it up. So we ask that when you're here, you're courteous of the children that are here, just like you expect other volunteers to be courteous of your children. So, you know, all these children belong to somebody and they want the same respect. If you see something or it's just none of your business. You're here to do a job, to do a task, and so we just need to be respectful of everything that's going on here. And we need to be appropriate with our speech while we're here. We need to make sure that we're speaking in a way that would be appropriate for our children to speak. And kind of the standard rule of thumb is that we should always exemplify the virtues that our children are held to while we're here. So if we can do that, that would be great. Every adult on campus is referred to by their surname only. So I am Miss Moulton. For some of you, we've been friends for 15 years, but I am Miss Moulton when we're at Founders. Anywhere else in life, I might be Melissa. Here, I'm Miss Moulton. That's expected from our children as well. So even if you're the Sunday school teacher and they call you Miss Gina at church or at the YMCA because you help out in the kids club, while you're at Founders, you're Miss Smith or Miss Jones. That's the policy. Our teachers, our aides, our faculty, everybody lives up to that expectation, and we expect it from our volunteers as well. While you're volunteering, you're encouraged to interact and support teachers and students. However, you can't take on your own child. Even if your child is at lunch, they need to sit in their chair. They need to behave just as they would if you were not a lunch volunteer. If your child is at recess and you're helping out at recess, your child is expected to behave just as they would if you were not here. That doesn't mean that they can't give you a high five when they walk through recess, or they can't tell you about their day as you're opening the go-gurt of the student next to them, but they can't just follow you around the whole time you're volunteering at lunch. And you can't just sit with them and chat. You're welcome to do that, but that's not a volunteer position. That's just a visitor. You can sign in at the office and do that any day other than during our STAR testing when the campuses are closed. So at lunch, you're welcome to do that at lunch other than during STAR testing. So you'll see often if you're in the hallways helping during STAR testing or health screenings or picture day, whatever the case may be, sometimes our kids, they walk with their shields up and their bubbles in, and they do what they call a one finger wave. So they're just saying hi because they see you and they want you to know that they see you, but that's how they're allowed to do it in the hallways. So your role while on campus, at no time is the job of a volunteer to discipline a student. That kind of goes without saying. I don't know about you all, but I don't want that responsibility. I'm happy to come in and be a help to the school and kind of just a positive piece of the student's day. But if you see something that concerns you, you need to find somebody who works here, whether it be an admin or the teacher. If you're in the lunchroom, very often that is Miss Newman or one of the aides that runs that lunch. You just need to let them know what you witness, and then they'll take care of it from there. If at some point you're concerned, like, they're roughhousing, this child is, being more aggressive than the other, you can say, hey, come with me, but just walk straight over to the aide and say, hey, this is what I just witnessed. At no point are you to discipline them or to correct them or to provide anything that should be done by a faculty member. There will be times where maybe the whole table gets a little loud at lunch and you say, hey guys, let's quiet down just a little bit. That's a different thing. But to single out like a specific student or a group of kids and say, this is not okay, or to provide any discipline, clipping down, and none of that is our responsibility. We're not allowed to do it. So, excellent. Volunteers while on campus, this goes for visitors too. If you're a parent and you're on campus for any reason, you are to use the faculty or adult restrooms. You cannot enter a student restroom. That's in your best interest also. You don't ever want to be in a student restroom where there are students other than your own. There's a faculty restroom in the lower school academic building right next to the nurse's office. There's 2 behind the main office. There's 2 in this building. We're in the upper school building. There's 2 in this building listed as faculty only, kind of tucked in between the 5th and 6th grade hallway and the lockers headed to the upper school classrooms. So you'll be able to find them. When in doubt, ask somebody who works here, or me if I happen to be on campus. We'll be happy to kind of send you in that direction. So anytime there are volunteers in this building, Ms. Lehman's wandering around. Anytime there are volunteers in the other building, you'll see the ladies from that office wandering around. So feel free to ask if you have any questions. Dress code. So when you're on campus as a volunteer, you need to be dressed, we've always said business casual, or in a Founder's Spirit shirt and jeans. So that's always been kind of the excuse. Please no short shorts, no gym wear. We don't want to stand out as being additional adults on campus. We need to kind of blend in with the people who are already here. A Founder's t-shirt is always a win, or a nice shirt and your volunteer t-shirt, any of that, or just a nice shirt and a pair of jeans that fit well. That's excellent. No additional children may be on campus at any point. So if you have littles at home, unfortunately, you cannot bring them to volunteer. Obviously, you can bring them to eat lunch with your child, but not to volunteer for lunch. They can't tag along. It causes a distraction to the other children. You're not 100% able to do what you're here to do when they're wandering the halls or whatever the case may be. And it's just a safety concern. So if you've got littles at home and you want to help, but you can't help during the school day, during the week, reach out to me. My email is school.support@fcahoplites.com and .org. And we'll send that out again. That'll be part of the links that we will post. But reach out to me. There are always projects. There are always things. Miss Smith always has things that she needs cut. The art teacher always has things that she needs done that can go home and be done in the comfort of your home, or you can team up with a couple other stay-at-home parents who have littles and work on these projects. So there are ways for you to help. Just unfortunately, it can't be on campus during the school day. So confidentiality expectations are what I hope you would expect. So anything you witness, anything you see that is, pertains to a child other than your own, you need to keep completely to yourself. But just the nature of being on a school, in a school, there's going to be situations where maybe a child is having, a hard time, and so they're being removed from a situation. You need to just walk on past that and, let the administration or the teachers deal with the situations that they need to deal with. It's not for you to go home and call somebody and discuss. If you're doing health screenings, these are, there's a right to privacy for these students. So, if you see it on a form, you shouldn't ever be in control of their paperwork. The students are in control of that. The teachers are in control of that. But if the student happens to hold a form so that you can read it, that's none of your business. To be very blunt, it's, that is the child's personal information. And if you happen to see it, it needs to stay with you. That's the expectation. So we have never been in a situation where we've had to not allow somebody to volunteer. But if there ever was a confidentiality situation, that could become an issue. Admin could decide that somebody can't be on campus because they don't respect the privacy of the students. So opportunities to volunteer. So most specifically, the opportunities to volunteer here at Founders are in morning car line. That's always my favorite place to volunteer. I love morning car line. In the cafeteria, which is a ton of fun also. So we work lunches. Lunches run from 11:30 to 1. And so it's a quick hour and a half in and out. Car line runs from about 7:10 to 8 o'clock. And so that's quick and easy. I also always recommend car line is a great time to volunteer on days that your student has tutoring. So you're expected to be here at 7:15 for your child to go to tutoring. You're already here. So it's a great chance to just jump off, help in car line, just sign up on Sign Up Genius. You'll be all set to go. And it's just quick and easy. 50 minutes in and out. You've done a volunteering shift for the day. So room parents and house parents. So our classrooms in the lower school have 2 room parents in each classroom this year. If you're interested in doing that, reach out to your teachers. Our upper school is going to have 4 house parents in each house, so 16 house parents this year. And those are just to manage our events that happen, with our houses. They do the sorting, and then they do the games. And in the lower school, we'll have a couple of different parties or celebrations. We'll have curriculum celebrations. So lots of opportunities this year. In the past, we've only had 1 room parent in each classroom or 2 house parents in each house. And what we have found is somebody ends up having an ill child or ends up having to go out of town, and all of a sudden we're scrambling to find somebody to fulfill that role. By having 2, sometimes we'll have more help than we need, and that's always awesome because we can find a place for extra help. But more often than not, there will just be a backup to fill that role, which is excellent. So we no longer, on this paperwork, it talks about helping out in the office. Year 1, we did a lot of office help because we didn't have as much staff here on campus. We no longer help in the office. We have aides that help in the office. We have office employees that take care of all of the office stuff. And so we used to do a lot of like running sweaters, running lunch boxes, whatever the case may be. Now the aides for each grade level just kind of swoop through periodically and pick up anything that belongs in their grade level. So disregard that. Special events, photo day, health screenings, STAR testing. These are all opportunities where we need extra hands. They will be posted in Sign Up Genius. You'll get an email saying, hey, you've been invited to participate in this. With STAR testing specifically, there is additional training. So you have to do some modules at home. You have to come in and sit through a class. That's the state law for STAR testing. And all we do on those days is monitor hallways. So we walk around and see if a teacher has changed their sign on the door to say like, hey, I need some help. And then we find the person to help who works here, or we monitor bathrooms to make sure that only one student is entering a bathroom at a time, which follows state law. They're nice, easy days, but we provide great support. Because we have volunteers here, our teachers get to be in other places actually proctoring tests. We get to have more accommodation rooms for students who need them. So volunteering is very important during that week. And then in the classrooms is room parents, as we just discussed. So we don't do a lot of other in the classroom volunteering. It's just not something that's necessary. A teacher may reach out and ask for something specific. I know year 1 and 2 in kindergarten, we pulled all of the math pages out of the math books and then sorted them. So instead of the teacher having to have each student pull page 1 out of their book, all of the page 1s were together and the teacher could just hand them out. Those are the kind of projects that can be taken home or that a teacher may ask a parent to do. We can find space just like this room to do those things if that's something that we need to do in the future. So the bottom part of this is just the privacy and confidentiality agreement. When you get this form, please read over it and understand the expectations, and then you will fill out the next form, which just says that you received this, you understand, you know the policies and procedures to be a volunteer at Founders. So last year, our volunteers worked, 1,200 shifts, just over 1,200 shifts, I believe, asking Crystal because she saw the numbers, just over 1,200 shifts. And we estimated that saved the school about $20,000. Is that accurate?
I think it was more.
More. It might have been $25,000.
At least 25.
So a significant amount of money. Having volunteers on campus saves the school a significant amount of money. It also has a huge influence on our students' day. So having parents in the cafeteria, having parents in Carline, or in these other areas where we need them, our kids get excited to share their day with parents, to talk about what they're learning and what they're doing. It is such a big part of it. So it shows them community in a way that nothing else could. So I was talking to a parent recently about Carline. And I volunteer in Carline quite a bit. I really like Carline. I think I did all but 5 days last year. And with some other excellent volunteers who showed up on a regular basis or all the time. But I love Carline because I remember being a kid, getting ready in the morning, getting myself out the door, and my parents kind of rushing us along, right? I know in my house, the mornings are very hectic. We got to get everybody dressed. We got to get everybody fed. We got to get everybody out the door. We got to make sure that they have their belt, right? Because the last thing you want to do is drive all the way to school without a belt. So I spend my mornings kind of in a rush. And I remember that as a child, being rushed along and my parents hustling us through. And I remember stepping out the door every morning feeling like, oh, well, I survived that. Now I've got to get through the rest of the day. And so I love Carline because as a volunteer, I get to be the stopping point. So these kids pull up and they've been rushed along. Mom's frustrated. I know I'm frustrated in the morning. Dad's exhausted. They didn't think they were going to make it on time, right? The train is stuck on the tracks or there's an accident on the way because all those things are going to happen probably tomorrow. And so I get to be a stopping point where I open the door and I say, hey, good morning. Have a great day. That's what I say every day. Hey, good morning. Have a great day. And it just gets to stop, right? It's like, oh, all right. I'm at school. I'm going to start my day. It's like a clean slate for me. And I feel like that's what we give our students. And then once you get to know them in Carline, it's like, oh, I love your new hair bow, or, oh, that's a new backpack, right? Or you just get to have these conversations, with them about how was the waffle you're still eating when you get out of the car. You get to show interest in their life and set the stage for the rest of their day while they're here on campus. And it's just so important to have that for them. So, or even for mom and dad to say, hey, I saw that you made it. That's excellent. Have a great day. And so it builds community. So if you get the opportunity, volunteer in these areas, come in and work Carline, come in and work in the cafeteria, listen to the kids tell you about their day. It will make all the difference. I know at this point, I love volunteering on campus. I do it at this point for me because it makes me happy to serve our community. So any questions? Anything out in the Facebook world?
Not yet. There's a slight delay, so give it a second.
What about the shirts? Where do we get the shirts?
The gray volunteer shirts? You can wear any Spirit shirt.
This is this year's.
Yeah, this is this year's. Any Spirit shirt, any Founder shirt. The volunteer shirts we will need to do another order on if anybody's interested in them. They had the Trillium, the Do the Good, Seek the True, Love the Beautiful. They're gray. They're super soft. Although our new Spirit shirts are the exact same shirts, just in a different color. But if there's a demand for them, I can order another order on them. We placed an order for 25. I only ended up selling about 17 of them, and then we used them in some drawings. So there would have to be some demand for them. I do love them though. I love that Trillium flower. Love it. Anybody else? All right. So any questions or concerns, you can email me. I'm sure we'll send out my email along with the background check information. And then once you do all of that, what I didn't cover was band. So we use Band. Band is an app. And so if you're not on Band, download Band, get on Band. We use it for everything. The council uses it for everything. So we're going to use it for room parents this year. There's going to be a band just for room parents. So the school can say, hey, we need these things done, and it can go out to them. We're going to use it there's a band just for house parents this year. There's a band for volunteers. There's a band for teacher appreciation. There's a band for events subcommittee. There's a band for our Hoplite Men's, which used to be our Watchmen. So there's a band for all of these committees, and it's just the quickest, easiest way to have a specific conversation for, like, our events committee needs help with this. So you can be on 8 bands if you want. That's not an issue, but it's a nice way to kind of organize the thoughts for what's happening in each subgroup. So please download the Band app. I will send you an email that invites you to it, and then you'll be on the volunteer band. In the past, we've just sent a shout out through Facebook, like, oh, we need lunch volunteers today. The problem with that is not everybody is on Facebook. So 2 weeks later, somebody will say, nobody told me that we needed lunch volunteers. If I had known, I would have done it. So Band allows you to not be on social media, or not to be on social media all the time. Some of us have it and just never check it. It allows you to not worry about that. You'll get a notification that says, hey, the Hoplite Volunteer Committee is seeking volunteers for this. So, excellent. Anything else? I think that's all we have then.
Yep. Amber said she would like a shirt.
Okay.
Yay for that.
We can post them. We're doing the Winter Spirit Shop right now, with all of that stuff, with sweatshirts and spirit shirts and all of that. We're going to do that again in November. So the first week of November, so that we can have them ready for holiday gifts. If people want spirit items for holiday gifts, hopefully there'll be some new exciting stuff by then. I can add the volunteer t-shirt to that shop when it opens. So that way everybody can pre-order and we can meet the minimums that way. Excellent. Anything else? All right. Well, I appreciate everybody that tuned in, or everybody that will watch this later. I appreciate everybody that will volunteer here at Founders this year. It makes a huge difference. And we've had a great team the last couple of years. Last year we had 200 volunteers over the course of the year. So that volunteered at least one time. So that was excellent. All right. Thank you.